Hello there, YouTube. I thought I'd make a little video of some of my favorite old tools and handmade tools. This I use on your bike sprocket, on your big nut, on your sprocket, and on the neck. Ford Model T or Model A wrench. I really can't tell you whether they came out Model T or Model A. There's the emblem, the Ford script. There. People call them like a monkey wrench. It's not a pipe wrench, flat jawed. This is an industrial manufacturing company in Chicago, USA. This came in little boys' tool kits, and I'm sure machinists used them also. They make a brass hammer that looks just like this. I've seen an old boy out there on YouTube, and I'm sure his is brass. This is homemade, my blacksmith hammer. This is a handle out of a bike seat post. It does come in handy. You can put this in the vise and slide your bike frame down on it, like if you're painting on a little BMX frame or something. But I got tired of messing with the wood handle. I actually spent the time to fill this in with braze. Blacksmith hammer, you can still buy them. This is an old Craftsman gasket scraper. It's not necessarily a chisel. See one side? Great for scraping gaskets. I mean, you can dig a lot of crap off a head of a motor or something. Hard steel. This is another handle of a ratchet. I grind into a punch. These make very good punches. This has been changed and modified. And get back to keeping it in focus. Just a handle off a ratchet. That's all that is. Cut it off with your cutter wheel and then grind it on your grinder. And here's a little one, used to be a 1/4 inch ratchet. Very good punches. I mean, these will last a long time. You can pound a lot of little punch marks before this gets dull. Bicycles will have that nut behind the fork, that lock for the bearing, and you have to hold that while you tighten the nut so our grind wrench is thinner. This one's been abused. Instead of buying a wrench, this was abused. I stuck it on something one day in the open end, but I can hammer that back down and refashion it, or I'll just grab another one. I've got plenty of old junky wrenches. Your common 9/16. These I've made out of ink pens and stuff, and put points, little brazing rod, make little scrapers for cleaning little lawnmower carburetors. I've made actually sewing needles out of brazing rod by flattening and drilling a hole, but some of the stuff is so junky now when you buy it that it crumbles when you're trying to flatten it. But I've actually flattened the end down, made it bigger, and drilled a little hole with my Dremel bits and made little sewing needles. You could use like for upholstery work, but I've got a bunch of these somewhere. I've got tools where I take little old pocket knife blades and put them like into an ink pen body, like model car work and stuff. Any small crafting, make your own little X-Acto knife. These are made from the old, they're called skeleton keys. Nice little awls, little punch a hole in something. Poor old beat up dust. And here's a smaller one. And then I wanted to show this. This is when stuff was made good. Cane cutter. They even made kitchen knives. If you sharpen this chisel up good, I've chopped through 3/8 bolts, not grade 8, but 3/8 soft steel bolts. I've chopped through bolts before with this without having to stop and redo it. This was way longer than this. I've had this for a lot of years, but it was a good brand in its day. Little tip, I always keep this stuff ground off, it'll fly off. They say it has the impact of a .22 bullet. This stuff will fly off. Safety first. Wear your goggles. Mine are laying here somewhere. If anybody's watching that, safety tip. Grind that stuff off. Keep it ground off there. Don't let that slag. That's even getting bad. Keep that ground. That stuff will shoot off there. But enough of that. This homemade junk. These are really nice. You got an old ratchet? You find an old ratchet. Just drag it home and make it. Cut off the cutter blade. That's hard tool steel. They make good punches. I use this one a lot. If I'm going to make a little hole in a bike frame or in any little piece of metal making a bracket, and I'll cheat and use my 4.5-inch grinder stone, or like the flat disc. You're not supposed to grind this time. Take like a flat disc, sander flapper. The flapper disc, sanding ones, that'll polish a nice pointy edge on there too. But just a little look of some of my homemade tools I've made. This is one of my prized ones. You get crescent wrenches that won't open big enough without a big giant crescent wrench, and you're trying to get down on the sprocket to get that nut off. This always puts down in there, and even on the neck. You can put tape on there if you don't want to scratch nothing. But it's a boring day. I'm ready to go back in the house where it's cooler. Thanks for watching.